Welcome to Driving to the Res.
Did I do it wrong again?
You're just getting it. Another few hundred episodes, we'll have it down.
Okay. With
Larry
and Inelia.
Cool.
Today we thought we'd talk about something that has been coming up quite a bit.
Yeah, since our last podcast, and you brought up a little bit of a, what was it? October surprise or batten down the hatches?
Well, we did, yes.
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 You had a Facebook Live, YouTube Live.
YouTube broadcast live thing that you heard in the last week's podcast. And it talked about October, and we've had a lot of questions about that. So we wanted to explore that a little bit better, or more, I guess, this week.
Yeah, more. Good.
Mm-hmm. Because we're getting there. We're going to be in October soon. And yeah, it's end of October, so...
It's not like October 1st.
Right.
It's like there's a storm coming. You can see the forecast. It's way over at Africa, like a hurricane. It's going to be here.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly the minute, exactly the place, but, you know, there's a storm coming.
Yeah, and batten down the hatches wherever you are.
So if you're not familiar with the term, although you probably have heard it, what it refers to is the hatches on a cargo ship, sailing ship especially, but even today they do it. The hatches had tarps, and then they had wood, and they had wedges and all kinds of things to keep the water out. Before they did turn into a storm, they would batten down the hatches with more battens. Battens are what holds it in. So batten them suckers down so the water doesn't go in and you don't sink. So apt for October. And so we should talk about what kind of things you might batten down the hatches for. And
how. And before we start that conversation, I want to warn everyone not to fall into the victim-aggressor cycle, because that's going to be one of the targets.
Absolutely.
Right? One of the targets is for you to become a victim or an aggressor or a savior or martyr, because you see victims that need, quote, saving, unquote. So, yeah.
Yeah, the bait, the October bait.
Yeah, October bait.
comes in the way that I think you might consider it you're most susceptible to, because it will probably, you know, tickle that part of you that is most vulnerable, right? Yeah. Like, so if I see a hurt animal on the side of the road, you're damn right I'm stopping to help that hurt animal. I mean, it's irresistible. I have to.
You have to do it.
I have to do it. And so, what do you do about that? How do you manage your consideration, your care, your empathy, that without becoming vulnerable to engaging in victim-aggressor games? Mm-hmm. That's a question.
You have to be so diligent. Anything that gets you into righteousness, anything that gets you into savior mode or martyr mode, you really need to watch that. You really need to watch it. Larry and I were talking earlier about what's happening in October. If you're well situated and you are processing your fear and you're processing your righteousness and anger, and you know in your mind, and it's a deep knowing, not just in your mind, but all of you, every part of you knows this, that you're not going to subject yourself to the fear that's been promoted on the planet, and it's so huge. To me, it's kind of hard to see, because I'm surrounded by individuals who are awake, high frequency, and who are not choosing fear. And those individuals and myself are having a very good life. So it's really difficult for me to see how other people are being cross-contaminated by the fear around them. I've talked about people living in cities and what little things that you can do to protect yourself, protect your body from that fear and from what's it called? The pool. to get you engaged.
Yeah, the pull, definitely. The push and pull. I mean, it's like you're being recruited.
You are.
And you're being recruited in a number of ways, not just one way. And everything isn't the same each day. There's not the same recruitment occurring. Multiple recruitments, multiple engagements, and multiple methods, and multiple even agendas, right?
Yes. One of the things to understand is that the individuals who are very invested in creating an enormous wave of fear on the planet are using a lot of knowledge and a lot of data to get to know how to recruit other individuals. So they already have like billions of people recruited to being vaccinated at some point.
That's a good example, right?
Yes. And now they're targeting others. And I did some market research even on sentences they can use. And one of the sentences that won, for example, was instead of to protect you is to protect the elder, to protect others, right?
Right.
And that is directly aiming at high frequency individuals. Because high frequency individuals don't want to hurt people.
Of course they don't want to hurt. They'll do things even all the way up to murder.
Absolutely,
to help other
martyr
people.
themselves.
That's one of their open doors, I suppose, would be the right way to say it.
Yes.
And it's true that I haven't seen the published results yet. I don't imagine they'll probably publish them, but they tested at I think it was Yale 10 or 15 scenarios to see which of them work best to convince people to get a shot. And scenarios are things like just what you said, protecting your elders, or guilt, or herd mentalities, or anything. They had, I think, 10 or so different example phrases that they tested on 10,000 people or whatever to see which one would compel someone who was going to say no to say yes, and which ones work best. So it's not like it's hidden agenda. It's as wide open an agenda as you can see. They're going to use whatever gun they can, figuratively, to manipulate you into a position that's contrary to the one that you would choose at high frequency. I guess that's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, and we can clearly see that some of the other tools they've been using, like setting police force against the people, or white people against black people, and vice versa. They've been trying this out, and they've been working.
Oh yeah, it works.
Right? It's been working. People feel victimized, they feel vulnerable, they feel afraid, or they feel that they have to defend themselves, or they feel us versus them energy, which is what's being promoted on the planet so strongly. At the same time, there's billions of people who are uniting, who are organizing themselves so that they're decentralizing food, for example, and making sure everybody gets what they need, right?
Right.
So look for those and join them. Don't think you're alone. And the feeling alone thing and feeling disconnected and separate is part of the main aspect.
That's the entire divide and conquer part. You divide and then you can conquer. Well, you can't conquer when you're gathered together. I mean, Romans did divide and conquer, but guess how they defeated the divide and conquer, those little cells of soldiers that were one group, impenetrable, impossible to defeat, a solid unit that couldn't be attacked because it wasn't divided, can't be separated. So we basically, I think in a way, do similar, which is what we have experienced in our area, our life, and I've heard and talked and shared information and conversation with others who are doing the same, and within their little bubble, I suppose the bubble's the word, a bubble reality, within their bubble anyway, they have a different experience of this entire thing, and it borders on sometimes leaning into confrontational, but mostly it's you don't even encounter it total. So we don't encounter that energy when we're in our right space, right place, right frequency. When things start to get wobbly is when we start to get to the edges of that, I suppose.
Right, the edges, and that's when he can grab you.
Yeah, it's like like I was talking about earlier. There's a co-creation to everything, right? You're not the only creator of everything. This is a co-creation. This whole reality is a co-created reality with millions and billions of people, and it goes from a scale of 2, one with your pets, and 2 your mate, and 3 your friends, and 4 your town, village, your city, your state, your country, you're all the way up to world, right? At all levels, you're co-creating. And what are you co-creating includes the victim and the savior. So if you're carrying your savior energy, you're going to encounter victims.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, yeah, that's different than, oh, this is a steep hill, can you help me get up it? That's different, right?
Yeah.
You're certainly capable and allowed, and I would expect your strength is my strength is your strength to be a component of your co-created reality.
Yes.
Which isn't the same as, the limping fox walking across the road, limping, hoping a rabbit will come save him. You don't want to do that.
Right, yeah.
Do you have a truthing course, right, to help you differentiate?
Yes.
Yes, between a wolf walking across with a limp and,
What is real, What are the real intents?
Yeah, what is the real agenda? Is this a recruitment? Is this something I should process? Am I doing this to save? Am I a savior? Or am I doing this to assist? Is there a difference between assist and savior?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
A savior will usually become codependent with the person or the thing that they're saving because they're the only one who can do it, right? But an assistance is somebody who will help somebody else co-creatively, right? They both do it. It's like if you have a big rock and you want to push it up a mountain, right? If you're by yourself, it's going to be really hard. If somebody comes along and say, hey, if we use a stick here or there and we do push it together, then you're being assisted, helped, and co-creatively pushing that boulder up the mountain. So there's a difference there, right?
Right. Will you be recruited as a savior, for example? I mean, I guess a way to say it is, will it be your fault if you find a whole bunch of things around you that need saving all of a sudden? So will that be your fault?
There's no fault involved, right?
Or will that be like a heavy attempt at recruiting you?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And so one thing to consider is that will work if you have a open door to being the savior, right?
Oh, definitely.
But if you don't have that open door, will you even notice it? Will you see it? Will it be a try out on you?
You might slightly notice it, but yeah, it's going to be like discarded so quickly that it's not going to impinge in your life at all.
Right, it's a little like the martyr side of it. It's like if you're really not a martyr and you're not sacrificing yourself for everybody, the opportunity to martyr yourself, you probably won't notice them.
Right.
But you may see that, oh, geez, I could step in front of that bus. Oh, no, why would I do that?
Yeah.
But it takes nimble toes and nimble feet and awareness and abilities, and it takes a little bit of tools, lots of tools. The tools you have made available, many of them free, some of them have a cost that supports you and the people who put them together in a way that you could receive them, right?
Yeah.
Cool. If you had to put a top 3, could you do a top 3 list of, or would it be 5?
For what?
Of courses or skills that you should brush up on for your batten down the hatches?
Well, you go to ineliabenz.com and you get yourself the fear processing exercise for sure.
Oh, wait.
What?
Something different at ineliabenz.com? Because I noticed it last time I was there.
Oh, yeah, and you're going to love ineliabenz.com now. We have completely revamped it and redesigned it. And now it's actually easy to navigate.
So a little bit of the firewall has
The firewall has dropped, man.
Nice.
It felt huge.
Yeah.
A firewall to get access. I think maybe its timing is crucial
I think so, yeah.
too. And so I would do that one. I would definitely do the truthing.
Yeah, truth and
Class.
lies, because there's so much misinformation.
Yeah.
And it's not actually misinformation. It's actually true. Just depends on the paradigm
Right.
you're in.
Right. One of the things that, the fear, process your fear, because they're going to be pushing the agenda of being vaccinated is the right thing to do so hard, and you're going to be not feeling too good in your mind and body because they're going to bring in the 5G and other things.
Amplify your emotional
Amplify
bodies,
all sorts of things.
These things have effects on your subtle bodies.
They do, and if you haven't taken measures to protect yourself from EMFs at home, for example, which is something we are doing, then you're making yourself vulnerable.
Like going out in a snowstorm without a coat.
Yeah,
You might survive on the way to the car, but if you have to go all the way to the grocery store walking, you might not make it.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like you don't have the tools. It's not like you don't have the knowledge. If you're an activist, make sure that you process your anger before you do any activism, and know that the discourse is getting amped really, really high for engagement. And for example, I've heard now twice that there's going to be a civil war in the United States after the election or during the election. So that's the type of thing that we need to watch out for. What does that mean? And who is saying it and why? Things like civil war really, really triggers people, especially here, right, in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
And be aware that any civil war is designed by the elite to suppress the people. Even if it's, let's bring the elite down, it's still designed by them, division and conquer. And it doesn't actually bring positive. Nobody wins in a war. Nobody wins in a war.
Especially a civil war.
Yeah, and war is a very low frequency engagement, period. Yeah, Evie agrees. She's growling.
That's it. Yeah. Get him.
Get him. She's so funny. So, batten down the hatches. Somebody asked, should I get food for a period of time? Dry foods? I would say yes. Make sure that you have enough to eat for a month. Canned food, rice, grow your own vegetables. You can grow them in your windowsill. It's not complicated. Don't be
make it so complicated that you don't do anything.
Right, right.
Do simple stuff.
Yeah, do simple stuff. Don't think that because you live in the middle of London, there's not people organizing, growing food together in their yards or windowsills. That type of energy, right? Because a lot of the comments I've received is, but I live in New York, I live in London, how am I going to connect with people who grow food? Absolutely you can. Do it now and make sure that you have communication channels that do not include the internet, okay?
I think it's probably easier in a city to find people. They're set up for people to be found, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have talked about a few things, but did you have that 5 list? Because I got a little off track.
Distracted.
Yeah, I know one of them
the fear processing exercise, the
Right.
truthing class.
Truthing class.
I'm going to be releasing that as just the PDF for people who couldn't afford the audio class. So that's going to be very affordable, and it's going to be on the store very soon. If it's not there already by the time this gets published.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And then start reading the victim-aggressor stuff. Do a search on victim on my website, and you'll get so much information about how this works.
And there's classes, but there's also plenty of free articles. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
You can find all the resources you want.
All of the resources you want. Do a search. You get hundreds of articles that will show you exactly what I've been talking about for the past 10 years, and it's all about this. It hasn't changed. So do that, and then if you're ready to organize yourself with other individuals and have that high frequency entourage that puts you into success mode, go to walkwithmenow.com and become a subscriber. Not only are you supporting yourself, but your strength becomes our strength, and our strength becomes your strength, because you will be completing the circuit in support with your financial support and your presence, of course.
And I think, what about the return?
I
think that kind of meshes in with our current experience of now. Like, it feels like it's now. It feels like it's happening. You know what I mean?
The Return is my book series. The first book is called The Return. The second book is called The Earth Files, and I'm writing it at the moment. And we're doing the first draft readings on Walk With Me Now. It's quite, individuals' brains are being blown because of the information that's been shared within the context of a novel. Novels make information more accessible for individuals, and then you can take or leave whatever you want, which is the gentle way that I like to teach. The storytelling tradition is part of my family heritage from the Mapuches and also the Gypsies from Spain, which are two branches of my lineage. I have other powerful lineages too, but those are the ones that use the storytelling aspect.
Right. With the return, I think it takes and shifts the focus from a narrow band, which is, I think, part of the divide and conquer, is to pull and draw your attention into this narrow band of confrontation, and expands it into, this is a universe, not a
you came out little planet.
Right. Let's go a little bigger. Let's look at the reality quite a bit larger.
All right, we are at the res.
Time to deliver our halibut.
See you guys soon. Go to ineliabenz.com, walk with me now, Ivan's Academy. You can find me in all those places. And my work too.
Yes.
YouTube channel, subscribe, Facebook page, like. You can find me. I'm there.
Okay.
And Larry
bye.
too. Bye.
Love you, honey.
I love you too, honey.